For millennia, the Galactic Empire reigned uncontested. It was more than just a political force. It was a machine of total control, spanning galaxies, devouring civilizations, and leaving behind a path of subjugation. Its fleets numbered in the millions, each ship a floating fortress of unfathomable technology created from materials beyond the understanding of most species. Whole solar systems bowed in dread, giving tribute merely to dodge the Empire's attention. To defy it was not simply foolish, it was unthinkable. The Empire's might was not just military, it was psychosocial. Tales of resistance didn't simply end in defeat, they ended in extinction. Entire planets were glassed over, atmospheres ripped away, and histories erased. The Empire had perfected fear. Species didn't revolt because there was no point. What was rebellion to a force that could erase you without raising a finger? Their domination wasn't reckless. It was systematic, surgical. A hierarchy of species was established, some as workers, others as soldiers, the rest as subservient spectators. Order was their virtue, rule was their faith. The High Command AI's cold and calculating council rarely needed to speak. The Empire ran itself. Its bureaucracies and procedures were so well tuned that disagreement didn't exist because it never got the chance to develop. Yet, in the outer margins of the Empire's maps outlined, there was a system mostly forgotten, a yellow star with an insignificant collection of planets. Among them was Earth, a name lost in the Empire's massive databanks. Humanity, in their small sphere, had advanced rapidly by their own standards. They had gone from tribal to digital in the blink of a cosmic eye. But in the vast scale of the Empire, they were nothing, a footnote that hadn't even been written. When a probe finally rediscovered Earth, it transmitted basic scans, biological life, moderate technological development, dispersed orbital platforms, primitive energy signatures. The Empire's analysts reviewed the data and laughed. The ruling was simple: humans pose no threat, a backwater species, no need for a full invasion. Merely send a tiny envoy to remind them of their place. The Anu, a lead fleet of 10 ships, departed with minimal fanfare. It was routine. Another planet to subjugate, another banner raised. The fleet commander didn't even expect resistance, some intimidation, perhaps. A spectacular display of power, and then compliance. Maybe they'd install a planetary governor or just extract resources remotely. It was an errand, not a mission. The fleet's arrival in Sol was unannounced. They exited slip space with elegance, 10 enormous warships eclipsing the stars. Earth's transmitters identified them quickly. Human government scrambled. Military command sent alerts. Civilians glanced to the skies, witnessing the impossible. Aliens were real, and they weren't here to talk. The fleet followed standard protocol, a message in a universal format beamed to all channels. It was concise. This area belongs to the Galactic Empire. Compliance is necessary. Surrender your sovereignty or face obliteration. Silence followed. Then Earth reacted. It wasn't a plea, it wasn't fear. It was laughter. A direct transmission, audio and visual. A human individual laughing hysterically. Then came images, satirical animations of alien overlords tripping over themselves. Manipulated footage of the Empire's ships replaced with rubber ducks. Songs with lyrics insulting the Empire's grandeur. The broadcast terminated with a single phrase: "Try us." In the command ship of the fleet, there was silence. This wasn't defiance, this was mockery. The commander reviewed the material many times, presuming it was mistranslated. It wasn't. These humans weren't terrified, they were laughing. No species had ever dared such obscenity. The commander ordered a show of force. One of Earth's orbital stations, a crude metal construct, was incinerated instantly. A laser fired from the Empire's lead ship obliterated it. The message was obvious: this is what happens when you defy us. Humanity's response arrived minutes later. Another transmission. The same laughter, louder this time, accompanied by a new message. Was that supposed to terrify us? We thought you were just testing your fireworks. The Empire's fleet moved from amusement to anger. This was no longer routine, It was an insult. Orders were issued. Prepare for a limited engagement. The Empire didn't waste energy on pests, but they would swat this one. As ships maneuvered into strike formations, they identified approaching vessels, dozens of them, human ships. They weren't shrouded or subtle. Their designs were obsolete missile racks, ballistic weaponry. Some even had holes mended with what seemed to be reused civilian materials. Empire scanners rated them as low threat, structurally weak, inefficient. The commander assumed they were coming to surrender. Then the human ships opened fire. The first volley wasn't sophisticated. Missiles, railgun slugs, electromagnetic pulses, childish attempts against Imperial shielding. But suddenly anomalies appeared. One Empire ship lost sensor input. Another experienced internal power fluctuations. One more spiraled off course, its thrusters overridden by an unknown force. Human vessels weren't attacking directly. They were exploiting systems. Viruses slid in. Signals piggybacked on data streams. Electromagnetic pulses targeted specific frequencies. Primitive methods, but they worked. In the turmoil, human ships closed in, using suicidal maneuvers, ramming, boarding. Explosives erupted over the fleet. Within minutes, 2 Empire ships were gone. A third drifted, disabled. The fleet commander looked on in disbelief. How could this be? How might primitives cause this much damage? A final message from Earth crackled across channels, audio only. A single human voice, calm and clear. You believed you were gods. Turns out, we just think you're funny. The fleet withdrew, bloodied and humiliated. Earth remained. The Empire's high command assembled, not to analyze victory, but to inquire about failure. No one had ever laughed at them before. No one had ever dared, until now. The Empire didn't take embarrassment lightly. The defeat at Earth, though modest in scale, sent ripples across their rigid hierarchy. Commanders debated. Analysts rushed for explanations. The High Command demanded swift retaliation. Never before had a species not only refused but insulted them. This wasn't just defiance. It was an affront to the very order the Empire was built upon. The orders were clear: mobilize a bigger fleet, not to conquer, but to punish. What happened next changed the fate of the galaxy forever. People had not only survived but pushed the retreat via sheer audacity. The message to the galaxy was plain: humanity didn't play by the rules, and they were barely getting started. The withdrawal of the Imperial fleet sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. What had occurred at Earth was unprecedented. A backwater species had turned back the most dominant power in existence. And they did it not through overwhelming power or alliances, but through uncompromising audacity and techniques that defied logic. The Empire's command structure broke, trying to explain the unexplainable. Reports flooded in, filled with terms like psychological disarray, tactical absurdity, and chaotic disruption methodologies. The core issue was obvious. The Empire, a system built on order, could not compute the chaos humanity thrived in. In the days that followed, the Empire confronted a new menace, not from Earth directly, but from within. Subjugated worlds, long cowed into servitude, saw the weakness. They had witnessed the species taunt the mighty and survive. Rebellions ignited on the outer colonies. Garrisons were swamped. On mining planets, labor forces stopped complying. The Empire's attention, once laser-focused, was stretched thin. Amid this rising storm, people acted with intent. They didn't relax after their victory. They spread everywhere, not merely to the Empire but to the galaxy at large. These weren't idle claims. They were targeted provocations, words of solidarity to enslaved planets, taunts aimed at Imperial emperors, and offers of creative consultations to any group willing to resist. In every broadcast, people laughed. They made light of their own odds and transformed dread into fuel. Empire intelligence learned too late that this wasn't random noise. It was strategic psychological warfare. Meticulously chaotic, human memes, jokes, and pranks weren't just entertaining. They spread like viruses, demoralizing Imperial troops. Morale dropped. Soldiers began to question commands. Some even defected, lured by the promise of freedom or just curiosity about the humans who dared to be free. In desperation, the Empire turned inward. High Command called a summit, a rare incident suggesting crisis. Analysts were given models. None could predict outcomes involving humans. Proposals ranged from total planetary annihilation to isolation strategies, but consensus evaded them. The Empire had never lost control like this. Not even close. Their strength meant nothing if it couldn't crush the unpredictable. Meanwhile, Earth advanced rapidly. Salvage tech from battle wreckage was reverse-engineered. What should have taken decades was done in months. Human ingenuity, coupled with relentless will, turned scraps into weapons, data into leverage. They didn't just repair, they improved, incorporating alien tech in ways the Empire never even thought of.